And Elohim said to Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there, and make a slaughter place there to El, who appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau your brother. And Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, Put away the foreign mighty ones that are among you, and cleanse yourself, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and let me make there a slaughter place to El, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me in the way which I have gone. So they gave Jacob all their foreign mighty ones which were in their hands, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the terebinth tree which was near Shechem. And they departed, and the fear of Elohim was upon the cities that were all around them, and they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. And Jacob came to Luz, that is Bethel, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all the people who were with him. And he built there a slaughter place, and called the place El Bethel, because there Elohim appeared to him when he fled from the face of his brother. And Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Bethel under the terebinth tree. So the name of it was called Alon Bakuth. And Elohim appeared to Jacob again, where he came from Padan-aram. Your name is no longer called Jacob, but Yisrael is your name. So he called his name Yisrael. And Elohim said to him, I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and increase a nation, and a company of nations shall be from you, and sovereigns come from your body. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac I give to you, and to your seed after you I give this land. And Elohim went up from him in the place where he had spoken with him. And Jacob set up a standing column in the place where he had spoken with him, a monument of stone. And he poured a drink offering it, and he poured oil on it. And Jacob called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him Bethel. Then they set out from Bethel, and it came to be, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, that Rachel began to give birth, and had great difficulty giving birth. And it came to be, as she was having great difficulty giving birth, that the midwife said to her, Do not fear, for it is another son for you. And it came to be, as her life was going out, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a standing column on her burial place, which is the monument of Rachel's burial place to this day. And Israel set out and pitched his tent beyond the tower of Eder. And it came to be, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. And Israel heard about it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's female servant, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's female servant, were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob, who were born to him in Padan-aram. And Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre, at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. So Isaac breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, aged and satisfied of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. And this is the genealogy of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan: Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Sibon the Hivite, and Basemath, Yishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth. And Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau, and Basemath bore Reuel, and Oholibamah bore Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. These were the sons of Esau, who were born to him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters, and all the beings of his household, and his herds, and all his beasts, and all his possessions, which he had gained in the land of Canaan, and went to a land away from the presence of his brother Jacob. For their possessions were too great for them to dwell together, and the land of their sojournings could not support them because of their herds. So Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, and this is the genealogy of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. The next section is going to list the genealogies of Esau, son of Jacob. So I will list these in a few different graphics, and you can pause and check these out if you want. I'm going to continue at chapter 36, verse 32. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Joab, son of Zerah of Batzrah, reigned in his place. And Joab died, and Husham of the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. And Husham died, and Hadad, son of Bedad, who struck Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Awith. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrakah reigned in his place. And Samlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his place. And Saul died, and Baal-Hanan, son of Achbor, reigned in his place. And Baal-Hanan, son of Achbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. And these were the names of the chiefs of Esau according to their clans and their places by their names: Chief Timnah, Chief Alwa, Chief Yetheth, Chief Aholibamah, Chief Elah, Chief Penon, Chief Kenaz, Chief Teman, Chief Mibzar, Chief Magdiel, Chief Aram. These were the chiefs of Edom according to their dwelling places in the land of their possession. Esau was the father of the Edomites. And Jacob dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. This is the genealogy of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers. And the young man was with his sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought an evil report of them to his father. And Yisrael loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a long robe. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and were not able to speak peaceably to him. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told it to his brothers. So they hated him even more. And he said to them, "Please listen to this dream which I have dreamed. See, we were binding sheaves in the midst of the field. And see, my sheaf rose up and also stood up. And see, your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." And his brother said to him, "Shall you indeed reign over us? Shall you indeed rule over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed still another dream, and related it to his brothers, and said, "See, I have dreamed another dream, and see, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bowed down to me." And he related it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I and your brothers, indeed come to bow down to the earth before you?" And his brothers envied him, but his father guarded the word. And his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Yisrael said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I send you to them." So he said to him, "Here I am." And he said to him, "Please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the sheep, and bring back word to me." So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and see, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What do you seek?" And he said, "I am seeking my brothers. Please inform me where they are feeding their sheep." And the man said, "They have left here, for I heard them say, 'Let us go towards Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. And they saw him from a distance, and before he came near them, they plotted against him to kill him. And they said to each other, "See, this master of dreams is coming. Now, then, come and let us now kill him and throw him into some pit, and shall say, some wild beast has devoured him. Let us then see what comes of his dreams." But Reuben heard and rescued him from their hands and said, "Let us not strike his being." And Reuben said to him, "Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit, which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, in order to rescue him out of their hands and bring him back to his father." So it came to be, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his robe, the long robe which was on him, and they took him and threw him into the pit. And the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal, and they lifted their eyes and looked, and saw a company of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to take them down to Egypt. And Judah said to his brothers, "What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh." And his brothers listened. And men, Midianite traders, passed by, so they pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they took Joseph to Egypt. And Reuben returned to the pit, and see, Joseph was not in the pit. And he tore his garments. And he returned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone, and I, where am I to go?" So they took Joseph's robe, slew a male goat, and dipped the robe in the blood, and sent the long robe, and brought it to their father, and said, "We have found this. Please, look, is it the robe of your son or not?" And he recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is torn to pieces." And Jacob tore his garments and put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, "Now let me go down to Sheol, to my son in mourning." So his father wept for him. And the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. And at the time it came to be that Judah left his brothers and turned aside to a man, an Adulamite, whose name was Hirah. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. And he took her and went into her. So she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again and bore a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was in Kezib when she bore him. And Judah took a wife for his first son, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and Yahweh took his life. And Judah said to Onan, "Go into your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother." And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. And it came to be, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did displeased Yahweh, so he took his life too. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah is grown." For he said, lest he also die as his brothers did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And after a long time the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted, and went up to his sheep shearers in Timnah, he and his friend Hirah the Adulamite. And it was reported to Tamar, saying, "See, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep." And she took off her widow's garments, and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat at the entrance to Enayim, which was on the way to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. And Judah saw her, and reckoned her for a whore, for she had covered her face. And he turned aside to her by the way, and said, "Please, let me come into you." for he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, "What do you give me to come into me?" And he said, "Let me send you a young goat from the flock." And she said, "Do you give me a pledge until you send it?" So he said, "What pledge should I give you?" And she said, "Your seal, and your cord, and your staff that is in your hand." And he gave it to her, and went into her, and she conceived to him. And she arose and went away, and removed her veil, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend the Adullamite to receive the pledge from the woman's hand, but he did not find her. And he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where is the court prostitute who was beside the way of Enayim?" And they said, "There was no court prostitute in this place." And he returned to Judah and said, "I have not found her." And the men of the place also said, "There was no court prostitute in this place." And Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, lest we become despised. For I sent the young goat, and you have not found her." And it came to be about 3 new moons after Judah was informed, saying, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has whored, and see, she has conceived by whoring." And Judah said, "Bring her out, and let her be burned." When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "By the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant." And she said, "Please examine whose these are, the seal and the cord and the staff." And Judah examined and said, "She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah my son." And he never knew her again. And it came to be, at the time for giving birth, that see, twins were in her womb. And it came to be, when she was given birth, that the one put out his hand. And the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." And it came to be, as he drew back his hand, that see, his brother came out. And she said, "How did you break through? This breach be upon you." So his name was called Peretz. And afterward his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand. So his name was called Zerah. And Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. And Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. And it came to be that Yahweh was with Joseph, and he became a prosperous man, and was in his house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all he did prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his eyes and served him, and he appointed him over his house, and gave into his hand all that he had. And it came to be, from the time that he appointed him over his house, and all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was on all that he had in the house, and all in the field. And he left Joseph's hand all that he had, and he did not know what he had, except for the bread which he ate. And Joseph was handsome in form and handsome in appearance. And after these events it came to be that his master's wife lifted up her eyes to Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused, and said to his master's wife, "Look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has given unto my hand all that he has. No one is greater in the house than I, and he has not withheld whatever from me but you, because you are his wife. And how shall I do this great evil and sin against Elohim?" And it came to be, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not listen to her to lie with her, to be with her. And it came to be on a certain day, when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside, that she caught him by the garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his garment in her hand, and fled and ran outside. And it came to be, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and fled outside, that she called to the men of her house, and spoke to them, saying, "See, he has brought in to us a Hebrew to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and cried out with a loud voice. And it came to be, when he heard that I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me, and fled and went outside. And she kept his garment with her until his master came home. And she spoke to him these same words, saying, The Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came in to me to mock me. So it came to be, as I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled outside. And it came to be, when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, Your servant did to me according to these words, that his displeasure burned. Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the sovereign's prisoners were confined. And he was there in the prison. But Yahweh was with Joseph, and extended loving commitment to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. And the prison warden gave into the hand of Joseph all the prisoners who were in the prison, and whatever was done there was his doing. The prison warden did not look into any point that was under Joseph's hand, because Yahweh was with him, and whatever he did, Yahweh made it prosper.